for BCV, a RateGain company. I'm a hotelier in the past, and I've been a part of Greek Hotel Hotels and Resorts in Greece, as well as Gloria Hotels in Dubai. And with me here today, my colleague Rohan, Associate Vice President of Client Services at BCV. We will host this webinar for you together. Rohan has been associated with Wyndham Hotels, IAG, and Marriott in the past before moving to the agency side to head digital marketing strategy for hospitality clients. And we are honored to be joined today by the industry marketing leaders from different parts of the world. So let me introduce our panelists. Ms. Ruchika Mehta, Corporate Director of Communications and PR for the Park Hotels, India's luxury homegrown hotel brand. During her career, Ruchika launched Shangri-La Hotels in India and has worked with Hyatt and ITC. Mr. Haitham Abdel Baki, Regional Associate Director of Digital Distribution, Middle East and Africa for Millennium Hotels and Resorts. Haitham has spent 15 years in Middle East market, being part of Jumeirah Group first for 11 years before moving to Millennium Hotels and Resorts 4 years ago. Ms. Sue Johnson, Marketing Director for Spices Retreats, a boutique group of luxury retreats in Australia. She has been heading various marketing strategies for Flight Centre Travel Group in the past. And last but not least, Mr. Alvin Jacobs, Assistant Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts in Maldives. He's been part of Cinnamon Hotel Group for almost 12 years. So thank you all our panelists for joining us today. It's our pleasure to have you here. And now, after we introduced our panelists, I'd like to say just a few words about BCV. So BCV is a RateGain company, a part of RateGain family. We pride ourselves on being the hospitality industry premier provider of social media solutions, and we have more than 100 hotel partners across the globe. And not only we are the only partner with the capacity to monitor and engage with the social space 24/7, we also capture and develop customized content, provide robust strategy services and reporting, as well as manage content calendars and help our hotel partners to drive ROI by converting followers into guests. So now, since we all know each other, let's go into our discussion. I'll pass it over to you, Rohan, for a brief
introduction, Yulia. So as we kickstart the session for today, 2020 kicked off a new decade with an entirely new way of life and set of rules for everyone. As brands planned their strategies, they could not have predicted the way current events have quickly swept up global markets and conversations. From COVID-19 to the Black Lives Matter movement, brands and social marketers find themselves making adjustments, big and small, to their original strategies. However, not all is lost, nor does it have to be. Knowledge, empathy, purpose, and agility are core to successful brand positioning right now. Through this webinar, we'll outline how marketers can reevaluate their planned campaigns and content, assess evolving customer needs, plan for the new normal, identify what parts of their strategy to salvage or scrap. An NCAD alumnus, Ruchika is an award-winning global marketing and communications specialist with experience in brand management, digital marketing, communications, and PR. Ruchika, your assignments have seen you walk through the thin gray line between strategy and creativity, industry and imagination. You're also celebrated as a young age leader to watch out for in various 40 under 40 forums and awarded multiple times for your contribution in the field of marketing and communications. Given your wealth of experience, how should marketers reevaluate their campaigns, in this fluid period, and also build trust in the new normal? And in your opinion, how crucial is it to create customized social media strategies that align with your overall corporate and marketing objectives?
Thank you, Rohan. Yeah, thank you so much, Rohan. Thank you for a lovely introduction. I hope we are able to help each other out in this period, which is so unpredictable, and we're really not sure where it's heading to. We're still grappling with it, and we're still figuring it out. A very relevant question, Rohan, that you put across, because our strategies have been aligned, and I think if I could talk on behalf of the industry in a very particular, in a certain way, largely we use digital marketing as a marketing to start as a marketing funnel for awareness, for building brand awareness, for talking about our products, what our brand stands for, what is it that we are trying to talk about, and possibly at some level also push towards selling the various products that we have. By inducing, because this is a beautiful forum to showcase photographs, videos, does a lot of engagement activity directly with your consumers. So I guess a lot of us have always been at the junction or at the funnel of the marketing. We were building awareness. We were building knowledge about our products, about our brands, who we are, what we stand for, what are our brand values. Um, when the pandemic hit us, of course, it was so unpredictable. None of us realized that the kind of impact it's going to have, not only on us but on general consumer behavior, because everything completely changed, everything completely evolved, and it's still evolving. A lot of countries are opening up, a lot of countries are not opening up, a lot of cities and states are still locked down. We are talking about bubble travel, we are talking about things that we've never thought of. As hoteliers, we are stuck at our homes and not traveling. I mean, it's very very unpredictable sort of a time that we're going through. The moment, at least in our country, when this thing hit, a lot of us were kind of prepared to what is going to happen, because we were not the first country in India where it happened. We've seen what was happening in China. We saw how it was moving towards Europe. And at some level, I think we were mentally prepared that this is going to come towards us. And slowly and gradually, our social media strategy started to change and shift depending on what we were seeing is happening across. Obviously, the hotels also started to prepare about building trust, because safety and hygiene was becoming extremely critical. And I think the first step that we took, all of us, was to start talking about the various steps that we were taking towards safety and hygiene, depending on the WHO guidelines, on the Ministry of Health guidelines, the local authorities guidelines. And since social media is a beautiful platform to be able to interact directly with the consumer, it was very imperative that we started showcasing the steps that each of our units and hotels was taking across. That was obviously the first step, because we all hoped and assumed that things are going to get normal very soon, which didn't happen. The second step, as the situation started to evolve and the lockdown started to happen, most of our hotels had to get shut. Most of the hotels were, I mean, it was a very unprecedented sort of a situation that we all were in. We realized that our responsibility currently is not just about the business continuity. Our responsibility is also towards the society and the community that we live in. And what are the steps and things that we can do towards that community and society to make people around us feel more comfortable? This is also the time for the brands to step up and not think just about ourselves, but also think about the community we live in, the society that we live in. And I believe a hospitality industry showed a beautiful example of how we all stood together, of how we all work towards the community engagement. We started a campaign called the Park Hearts of Hope, where we started doing neighborhood services, where we realized that the most hit people were the 65 plus, the senior citizens, and some of them were really living alone and they did not have anything, any kind of support structure available. So our hotels, and anybody who lived around the 5 kilometer radius, we said that if you have any groceries requirements, if you need any medical help, just call us up. We will help to procure that for you. The whole idea was that how can we step up to this situation and help? Of course, a lot of us worked together, worked with the ministries also to provide um, rations to the needies, the food, because that is something that is available to us. We have that. And how can we help in what the hotels and the society already has? And I think that got really appreciated also by all our guests. who came forward also saying that we would love to support you in the endeavor that you're doing. How can we contribute to what you guys are doing, and how can we come up to? And like I said, the entire hospitality industry in India came together to work towards it. I mean, it wasn't just our brand. I think all brands, including the international brands, all of us stood together and said, okay, let's work towards the community and the society. Of course, eventually, when you realize that the lockdown is going to not really get over, our second thing was that how do we continuously engage our customers? And that is when we realized, that's when we started planning and working towards different sort of campaigns that would marry to what our brand stands for. Our tagline is anything but ordinary. And we believe in giving experiences when you come to our hotels, which are anything but ordinary. And we were like, okay, let's do certain things and campaigns. How can we create experiential and digital campaigns, which are anything but ordinary, stands true to who we are, and are yet able to provide some kind of entertainment, some kind of need, requirement, and fulfillment that the guests have currently. Our anything but ordinary brand has 7 pillars. So we decided, let's pick up those pillars. We picked up the park, we picked up the food reimagined, where we decided that we are going to talk about the food. We're going to give recipes to our customers. We're going to get our chefs to do something which is quick and easy to cook. There were no helps around. So what is it that they can do? And they started to enjoy that. I mean, the kind of response and engagement that we had, I think we had even better engagement than we would have otherwise in your regular campaigns that were going through. We stand for music. We stand for nightlife and entertainment across our hotels. And we said, okay, what can we do to bring entertainment inside the homes of people, because people are also getting bored. Of course, they are worried. They are trying to, get into their whole immunity factors. But what is it that we can bring to their table that is going to make them also entertained? And we started the Park AQUA set, where we got all our musicians, our DJs to create special track set for our consumers, which goes live every Sunday. In fact, once when we launched it, we were actually trending in the top 3 at the Mixcloud and Soundcloud track list. So it got so highly appreciated. We also started at Someplace Else, which is a live music club, live music every day for last 60 days at 8 p.m. If you go on the Facebook group of the Someplace Else, by all our bands that performs for us. And this is all complimentary, right? This is all being given. There is no charge to it. There's no fee to it. The idea is that our consumer, our customer, our guests are getting bored. What can we do to give them that engagement level? At one level, that's an engagement, and it's a fulfillment of their need. At another level, it's also something that will continuously keep them engaged with us. It will keep them on the top of the brand recall, because right now they don't want to know who we are. They don't want to know what our products are. They don't want to know what are the food and beverage services that we have to offer. Right now, they're stuck at home, and what are the things that we can do? Rohan, if you could take to another slide, to the next
Absolutely.
one.
Also, Ruchika, sorry to cut you short. I think you'll have to just adjust your mic a little bit. We're sort of losing you out. So if you could just adjust your mic, please.
Sure. Are you able to hear me better? Yeah.
That's absolutely much better.
Fantastic. So, like we started Stay Swell, which was another of our brand pillar, and the idea was that let's tie up with some of these known celebrities and known fitness experts, and again provide them with some kind of tips to how you could keep yourself well at home. Again, this got really appreciated by so many, because we even do live sessions every Saturday with some of the fitness experts, some of the mental health activists, to talk about how guests can, or people, in fact even your own team members who love to go and engage with these members, that okay, we are at home, we are stuck, what can we do? Give us simple tips of exercises that we can. Perhaps you could show the the video here.
Absolutely.
And these are all, trust me, collaborations. There are no marketing budgets that we have currently. So all of this is being done with collaborations with all the people and all the guests and all the celebrities that we work with in Journal. And they give us these videos. Let me just tell to all our hotelier friends, we spend zero money on this. We literally had spent no money on it. Yeah, we'll move forward. And we do the immunity boosters, and Also, what we realize, I'm sure a lot of your hotels would also have those. We have a lot of quarantine guests who are staying with us in the hotels. A lot of COVID warriors who are staying with us. We have these tie-ups with the government, and there is a certain a set of team members who are still continuously working. And it's not that the hotels are completely shut. And we thought, why not we bring out stories of our anything but ordinary heroes who are working? Because sometimes what happens is, of course, there are doctors, of course, there are health practitioners who are the real COVID heroes, but so does our team members who are going and working and also taking care of these COVID warriors and are equally at risk of getting this, but yet are very happy and yet are going there and working and are not worried. And this is a campaign which is anything but ordinary heroes that we started on LinkedIn. So of course we also looked at the various platforms that we had, and we realized that obviously you're not going to put everything at every platform. So what works where? And we decided, let's for LinkedIn, let's do and talk about our own employees and what they're doing at this point of time. And there's such beautiful stories, right? You have people working in the kitchens, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's very difficult. There are room service guests, room service teams that are going and serving to these guests who possibly could be affected with COVID and are yet doing their jobs and responsibilities. And we thought it's our job, it's our responsibilities to shout out and call out these these anything but ordinary heroes that we have in our teams, because they're equally doing a really, really spectacular job. Again, these stories were really, really lapped up and people loved it. Now, of course, and I'm sure my fellow other panelists will also talk about the various activities that they have designed and planned for in terms of talking and building trust for the next level while we get prepared for our hotels opening up. And we launched the Shield program, which is an all-encompassing program designed to talk about hygiene, safety, service excellence, and design all in one opening. We are moving towards learning to live with the disease, right? We are learning to live with this pandemic, and it is important. And I think the brands that are able to talk about the safety and hygiene more strongly to their guests are able to showcase that they are prepared. And we have to learn to live with it. At some point, we don't know when the vaccines are going to come in. We don't know what's going to happen. We will eventually learn to live with it. And we launched the Shield program, and of course we used aggressively our digital platforms to talk about it. We are using aggressively our loyalty program base to talk about it. In fact, our loyalty, the emailers, the database, the emailers that we are sending across, our open click rate is literally 13.99, which is kind of unheard of. You usually have a 3 to 4% click rate, and we have a almost 14% click rate, which is going on. It's all because people want to read and understand what it is, and we are also able to match that up to what they want to hear, what they want to listen. It's not about our hotels, it's not about our products, it's not about how beautiful our rooms are, it's not about how beautiful our products are, but it's about, oh, you want some recipes? Here we have some for you. Oh, you want some immunity boosters? Here we have some for you. Are you getting bored on Saturday? Listen, we have a track list. Why don't you listen to the music? So I guess that is the reason that our engagement levels are so high. And we're very proud about what we're able to do with it. Currently, we have started a Stay Safe, Travel Local campaign, because we do realize, and I think all of us realize, that the first travel that's going to happen is going to be domestic travel. It's going to be in-city travel. And we want to push the whole point of how you could travel and how you should go back and explore your city back again. And the idea is to make you see the city in a way and in a format that you haven't seen till now. Perhaps you could show the video, Rohan.
Absolutely.
So again, the idea is that let's not just talk about hotels. of course, we're going to talk about hotels, but also talk about the city where it is, because we all are tired sitting at home. I'm sure all of us are just waiting that we should be able to allow to travel. It's getting really boring.
So
How about
needless to
going
say,
back? Sorry.
needless sorry to cut you short there, needless to say, you've done a commendable job, in sort of collaborating with your partners, and going beyond, just selling on social media and looking at social media as a selling tool, right? And this definitely sets a very strong tone of voice for your brand, and I'm sure, in the longer run, is going to go a long way, as far as your brand credibility is concerned. So I think, on behalf of all the panelists, on behalf of the audience, we'd all like to applaud you for all the fabulous work that you've done there. And I know that, it's nothing but ordinary heroes out there, that are making this possible for you and for all of us. And it's great to see you collaborating, with other sort of hotel partners and your guests in order to do this. Now, moving on, before Yulia takes over and we proceed to the next question, everyone on the webinar would see a poll on the screen and is encouraged to take part in it for our panelists to get more insights into some of your pain points and how we can collectively look at addressing that for you. So I'm super excited to see the results. If everyone could participate in this and leave their opinion for us, please. So as everyone knows what the question is, what is that one has everyone been able to see the poll? What is that one challenge that you would like to solve for the new normal to ensure higher engagement and conversions through social media? And this is exactly the kind of results that we were expecting. It's great to see that 15% of the total participants thought manage and monitor guest engagement 24/7 is important to them, whereas 39% saw, that focus on original content creation is important to them. We saw 28% see revisit targeting and conversion tracking, whereas 19% saw more granular insights through better analytics. So thank you for your participation, and over to you now, Yulia.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you, Ruchika, for sharing all these amazing initiatives that you started at the Park Hotels. And Ruchika spoke about the importance of building trust and sticking to your brand in this ever-changing world. And now, Haitam will bring some light into how you can take the trust and convert it into the demand using digital channels. Over to you, Haitam.
Thank you very much, Julia, and thank you for having me today. Yes, that's exactly what we will be going through today into my slot, and I will be talking about the importance of social media during and post this pandemic crisis, and how in Millennium Hotels mainly we tackled this, and we are still actually. So as we all know, everyone is on social media now more than any time ever. And the social platforms actually recently have been witnessing a record breaking number of active users like never before. And also people, were finding it, as a great way for different reasons, of course, to share and find maybe, news, although some or many news were fake. However, everyone was there to engage and share and get news. However, hotel companies, unfortunately, due to the pandemic crisis, have restricted or curbed their marketing spend to cut cost as much. But in my opinion, this is not the right strategy, as it's now time to invest in social media, which is actually one of the most powerful digital channels to generate awareness, demand, and capture leads. Hotels, of course, may not see the results right now due to the, of course, the measures and restrictions in place. However, the global market started, as we can see, to recover gradually. from, of course, starting with domestic markets locally, and then regionally, and then globally. So I think if they start now, maybe at the beginning, people were not sure, uncertain about what's going to happen. This is going to last for 1 week or 2 weeks, 1 month. So it was a lot of uncertainty. But now, I mean, as things started to be cleared up, and then we know that the world's opening up gradually, it's really now the right time to start investing. Again, we're not talking here about putting huge budgets. You don't have to be. It's not always about like how much you spend, but it's how smart you spend. So it's very important, that you now put a gradual, if you want, a phased recovery strategy for your digital spend, because anything you spend now, you might not see probably the ROI or the ROAS next week or next month. We're talking about, of course, the normal or the average ROAS that we used to see before, but you will definitely all the hotels who invest right and smart, they will harvest the fruit of their investment efforts as they see bookings coming for future stays, and sorry, and have a competitive edge on these who are not spending, because many hotels now have closed. Some others were not spending. They did. Some others have completely decided to curb or pause all their marketing spend, at least for the next few months, or maybe until the end of the year. I think this is not really right at all. However, it's noteworthy to mention also that any spending should be definitely smart and data driven. That's very important, because if you just spend for the sake of spending, then definitely you won't see the results. And of course, at some point you won't be able to convince all the stakeholders that, hey, my strategy was fruitful, and it delivered the desired result. So it's very important, again, to be smart, measurable. That's what I mean by smart, data driven, to target the right customer for the right product at the right time, and most importantly, as I said, to get the right ROAS. So if I want to put it in, if you want, and use the current terminologies used during the crisis, so I would say, don't quarantine your budget, okay, and curfew your spend, because this will cause your a lockdown to your revenue, and of course, this will definitely not be healthy. So I would say those any spend you do now would be like a vitamin or vaccine that will definitely immune your marketing strategy or digital strategy for the future, and definitely you will be the strongest among all the competition. So I hope makes you understand more. I think those words were frequently used recently. People start to get used to it. They like it. So I thought like this would be a good way for you to understand what I'm trying to say here. So this is a quick intro. Now I'll take you more into what we've been doing in Millennium Hotels, mainly to drive revenue, because we all know social media is a great tool for awareness. We all know social media is a great tool for news, for updates, for awareness, for brand, values and brand, etc., etc. However, recently social media started to become more a revenue generating tool. It's not just anymore just a social platform, to share updates. So what we're trying to do is to leverage the power of social media, the expansion, and as I said, the record-breaking numbers of active users, to make sure we get the desired results in terms of monetary return or revenue. So if we can move to the next slide, I will show you what we're basically focusing on. That this is mainly of course this is not the only one. And if you can go to the previous slide, please. Yes, exactly. So these are if you want, the four key factors. Of course, it's not the only one, as I said. There's more, but what we did mainly, we were focusing on those four, if you want, key elements or factors that helped us, somehow, of course, despite all the challenges and all the critical times we've been going through. However, we thought this is definitely something that would help us first understand, target, and make sure that our customers, we deliver to our customers what they want. So if we start with the first point, what that says, maximizing communication. What do we need? What do we mean by that? I'll give you an example. What we did recently is a survey. So we collectively, in the corporate office, the key or the concerned corporate office leaders, we sat down, we brainstormed, and we set a list of 13 carefully selected questions, and put it in a very good survey in English and Arabic, and share it on social media. And we're still actually sharing it, monitoring and optimizing. And those questions are basically related to the current situation and the future situation, at least for the next few months, uh, let's say to the end of the year, to understand what are the consumers' behavior, and also the booking trends, payment channels, etc., etc. And of course, most importantly, what are the safety measures, and whether they really care, or some others maybe they don't, it's fine with them, they don't care if there are really measures or not. And also to understand when they will be traveling again. So this kind of communication is very important, that will help us also, as I was saying before, smart spending, to smartly and target users based on data. And that's what I was referring to, data driven. And by that, we make sure that we have a cost effective spending strategy, so we don't overspend, and at the same time we get the desired results, or the ROAS. Second point is marketing pricing. Pricing was very important during this time, as we all know. So we wanted to make sure that, of course, we are not undercutting, of course, our average daily rates, and at the same time we are not over, of course, highly overpriced, and at the same time in line with the competition. Yet we have a competitive edge. So that's why we focused on the discount element, which is of course very important. Everyone was going like aggressively, discounting the rates. However, we wanted also to make sure that we add value to our customers, and hence was the We Clean, We Care, We Welcome campaign. And this campaign was, we were the pioneers, we were the leading hotel companies to start with something like this. And I think it's the only offer still in the market that has all the key elements that the customer want, from safety measures all the way to pricing, value adds, and including the loyalty also factor. So if you go through, I'm not going to go through details here, but you can always visit our brand website, offers, and then you can see all the details there. And recently also, in line with our global teams, as well as, you know, we are an international company. So in line with global, with all the regions, we have also set a marketing recovery strategy, and also this was part of it. And also we've introduced recently as well our 10 hallmarks, which covers everything that the customer wants to see and experience, you know, while staying with us from A to Z. So maximizing pricing was, as I said, a key element for us, and at the same time without under cutting our rates, and at the same time maintaining our values and offerings. The third point is optimizing channel distribution. As we all know, channel distribution is very important, whether it's multi-channel, omni-channel, etc. So we wanted to make sure also that we don't share or communicate or spend without having the customers community management, or if you want, I would rather call it audience management, because community is mainly focusing on your own followers, on your own your own fans, or fan base. But audience is also those users who doesn't like you. Maybe they stay with you, but they just don't like to. They don't have social media, or they don't like to follow pages. They don't want to get bothered every now and then. So, but they still stay at you. So that's why I would rather call them audience management. So we wanted to make sure that those people who are following us or not following us, they are reviewing us positively, and making sure that we track, we monitor, and we turn any negative into positive before we do any marketing. Because this is very important. You see many companies investing, spending, and the reviews are bad. So this is, it's like, like you're doing nothing. Literally, you're doing nothing. You're wasting all your money by driving traffic to your channels and to your website, unfortunately. And then when the customer arrives or land on your pages, you will see negative reviews, and then they bounce, or they don't book, or they to completely have a bad first impression. And as we all know, you might not have a second chance to have a first impression. So this is very critical. So make sure that our reviews are all positive before we invest anything. And this is what I always recommend. Never invest anything before you make sure that at least you have very good reviews across all channels, because now customers internet is a weapon, and they can review you or see reviews, and even comment with anything. Now if we can see next video about what I've been talking about. If we can see the video, and then we will discuss after.
At Millennium Hotels and Resorts, your health comes first. So how exactly do we help keep you safe? We clean, we care, we welcome. Here at Millennium Hotels and Resorts, we have always maintained high levels of cleanliness and hygiene. And we have gone even further to enhance our health and safety protocols to ensure your well-being. That's why we have implemented 10 key standards that define our new approach to safeguarding our guests and employees. Every corner of our properties are rigorously cleaned and sanitized. From the
Very good. If we can just simply just go to the slide before, please. More slide. One more slide. Just one last point. Sorry, I know I'm running out of time. I'll try to be quick. Yeah. So the last point is increasing on-site conversions. Quickly here, you can visit our website. Any hotel, go to the bottom of the page, and you will see live Instagram feed where we share usually the user-generated content for our guests to engage with us on our Instagram mainly, live on our website. So this is a good thing also to let customers feel that we value their user-generated content, and also we make sure that the best is shared on our website so they can come, engage, stay, and enjoy also communicating and engaging with us through their photos. Next slide. If we talk about quickly I won't spend too much time here, but just to let you know that any digital strategy, especially now, should be integrated. And it's social media alone is great, but it's not enough, of course. So that's why we make sure that it's integrated into other digital touch points and activities. And as you can see here, paid search, as we all know, is very important. Paid search, what I mean here is, of course, everything related to pay-per-click, like Google AdWords or CPC meta search on Google or TripAdvisor or Trivago, etc. This is very important because we call them performance marketing that drive traffic and revenue to our website. Display remarketing. This is mainly related to all the cookies, that we place on our website. We make sure any visitor to our website is retargeted so that we don't miss on any opportunity, and make sure also we target those visitors who booked or who visited, not necessarily only booked, to make sure that they come back and they stay with us and they are updated with the latest offers and information. Social media, we talked about it. Here also, we do also something called display prospecting to get new audience. As we all know, the customer journey is like three layers, if you want, in the funnel: upper funnel, medium funnel, and lower funnel. So we make sure that we cover all the layers and the customer journey. And here we do prospecting to make sure that we are acquiring new customers as well, and converting them later through the other activities, paid display, and converting them into the bottom of the funnel. Also, discovery campaign. This is something very new. We're piloting, we're testing something very good also. But of course, upper funnel activities were paused at the beginning. Now we are reactivating it slowly, and then moving forward, once the markets open, it will be in the third phase. TripAdvisor also is part of the upper funnel activities to reach users that are researching the market and travel intentions. But again, as I said before, these were paused because, of course, there was a lockdown. Next and last slide. Again, so apart from the key elements that I was mentioning before, there were also non-technical, if you want, because the previous slides were more technical. This is the non-technical part, which plays a very important role in also driving the revenue to the hotels. Quickly, I'll go through this. Teamwork. as we all know now more than ever, a collaboration between all the concerned leaders, teams, on whether it's on property or corporate, or even the agency, these need to be collectively done. So to support, of course, the overall strategy for any company. And social media is not just or no longer just a marketing job, as we all know. All teams need to work together for a successful results or outcome. Leadership. I think now leadership is more essential and imperative and than any time ever. All planning and strategies won't help without true leadership across all levels: corporate, hotel, agency. Otherwise, I think the results, even if you have the best strategy, if you have the best agency, the best technical tools, softwares, etc., you name it, that won't help if you don't have great leadership. Analytics. As we all know, data is the new gold, and all activities should be tracked, analyzed, and used for future planning, not just doing for the sake of doing and without any proper control or monitoring, for the result, and use it, as I said, in planning. Otherwise, all your efforts, would be not justifiable. Auditing. What we are doing also recently, we try to use this quiet period, if you want, to revisit, audit, review all our social media on property level, also on corporate, to make sure all the hotels are following the brand guidelines, the social media guidelines, the smart photography tips that are shared through the corporate office, and of course make the necessary adjustments to make sure our all platforms are high quality and delivering the right message at the right time for the right customer. That's pretty much from my side. I hope you really like it and enjoyed the short presentation. Again, we're happy to hear any questions at the end.
Thank you so much, Haytham. We can see the amount of the work that Millennium Hotels put in the last few months. It's a very strategic approach and great initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sue, moving to you. The Sound of Spicers campaign, amazing campaign from Spicers Retreats. It's aimed to help travelers and guests to get acquainted and feel closer to the nature of Australia. And at the same time, it's promoting Australia as a destination to visit. So in your opinion, how important it is to market the destination to engage with your audiences, being a hotel brand? Sue?
There we go. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Good question. And particularly for our properties, it is all about the destination. We're primarily leisure. We do have some people coming for business, but primarily they're going on a holiday. So promoting the destination is just as important as promoting the brand itself. I wanted to talk to everyone today about the different phases that we experienced during the pandemic and how we adjusted our destination marketing, but also our marketing across social to suit that. And I thought that web traffic was quite a good way to demonstrate what had happened. And everyone's probably got a pretty similar graph in Google Analytics. Everything was going fine, and then it fell off a cliff and stayed there for a while, and went back up again. But it's a good representation. So I'll use this as a bit of a marker along the way, just to show what we were experiencing. So pretty well overnight, and for the first time in my career, I ended up in a situation where I had no product to sell. And then and a few people have made this point as well. Even if I did have a product to sell, there was no budget to do it anyway. So social media and email as well just suddenly became the most sort of important channels that we had. And those bumps in the graph that you can see there, that's emails going out, but generally speaking, web traffic was pretty flat. If you go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, we used social media and email to keep guests up to date on what was happening. And we used the messaging component in social to provide an extra form of communication between ourselves and our guests, just to help take some of the pressure off reservations. Because during that period, people were most concerned with what was happening with their holiday, and also concerns around cleanliness and social distancing. And we have restaurants in our hotels as well. So, and how are those operating, and how did that look differently now with everything that was going on? And it was all happening so quickly. So social media was a great way to get that message out. And obviously tying it back to the website where there was more information, but that was a good, quick way to do it. If you go to the next slide. So yeah, through, so it's so that middle bit there where it's flattened out, that was through lockdown. So with the exception of a few emails, website traffic was, pretty well a quarter of what we were used to experiencing. We had a few things we were promoting, like takeaway and day use packages, but broadly speaking, there wasn't a lot to talk about, except for a little bit of inspiration just to remind people that we were here. But social engagement was holding well. So overnight, it did become our most important channel. And in the past, it was more of a pushing messages out, but not using it to communicate, letting guests communicate back to us. So if you go to the next slide, please. So our social media was always very beautiful, but like I mentioned, it was mostly one way, and we wanted to use it to keep in contact with our guests. And this was the perfect way to do it. And we also felt quite confident that state borders, so within Australia, we have different states, and some of those borders have closed. And then, of course, we've got international borders closed, which everyone has experienced. And we knew that there would be a staged approach, and that people would be pretty excited to get out there and have a holiday just as soon as they can. So we wanted to make sure that we were absolutely top of the list to do that. So the examples that I've got on the side here are really about the destination, not so much about the hotel, and just providing a little bit of inspiration. And some of the other panelists have made the point of just making sure that we're adding value as well. Like, people didn't want to be sold to, which was quite right, I think, in saying that. They didn't want to be sold to during that time. It really wasn't appropriate, and it wasn't the right moment. So it was just about really wanting to just provide inspiration and give them some ideas of the places that they could see. And then obviously we want them to come and see them with us when the right time came. So if you go to the next slide, please. One of the things that we did during the lockdown was run a bit of a user-generated content competition. So asking people that had stayed at Spices in the past to share what we called their Spices memories. So guests were asked to send us a picture of their favourite memory with a little explanation of what was happening. And a really important category in there for us was the landscapes or the destinations that they were going to. So this example that I've got here is one of the retreats up in Queensland. So we're using that to show the countryscapes that you can go and see, and it's quite the sort of Australian experience that you can have when you come and stay with us. And then we used all different images, and we shared those across social channels as well during that period, just to keep the content interesting and a bit fresh, rather than just showing the same old thing over and over. And we ended up getting about 400 pieces of content for that, and we still use them now. So that was really successful for us, and did just gave us a more interesting way, I guess, to tell that destination story, particularly when people couldn't come and visit. And the next one, please. Yeah, so towards the end, almost as quickly as it turned off. So it turned itself off in about a week, and then there was some announcements in Australia that people were able to travel from their homes for overnight stays, which was the turning point for us, because before then people were restricted within sort of 50 kilometres of their house. So going on a holiday really wasn't an option. So there's new restriction, and easing of restrictions was announced, and people were starting to look for a holiday again. So website traffic obviously went with it, but it's a different world, and it will continue to evolve over the next little while. But right now, people can go a little bit from home, but they can't go really far, and obviously they can't go overseas. So we're in this, I guess, great moment in time in a way, because people who would normally go overseas want to, will still want to go on holidays and will want to see parts of Australia, and it's a great opportunity for them to see parts of Australia that they wouldn't normally have before, that they might not have considered. And we want to make sure that we're promoting the destination as best we can, so that we get them coming to us. That's obviously really important for us, and it's really important for helping the suppliers that we work with in the local communities that we're in as well. So it does a few jobs there. Next one, please. So as I mentioned, restrictions start to ease, and then it's time to take all that engagement that we've had throughout lockdown and turn it into action. So people are ready to start booking now. How do we take that, all that goodwill and everything that we've built up, and get them to come and stay? And one of the really obvious things was using very strong destination images to announce that we're open, and get people to come and stay with us again, and also making sure that we're using relevant hashtags. So local tourism boards will have hashtags that they're using. Definitely make sure that you're using those, and because it gives you relevance in search and that sort of thing. And this particular image here that I've shown is a part of Southeast Queensland that most people would never have heard of, called Scenic Rim. And the tourism board actually saw this image because of one of the hashtags that we've used, and they'll start using it in their promotional material and tagging us. So there's this great sharing of content that's been a lot of fun, and something that we want to keep doing in the future. And we also released that Spice. So we had made a video of Spice's memories, and we released that at the time as well. And this is another video that we released as we were starting to come out of lockdown. People were cooped up in their homes, and we knew that they were wanting to get out into a bit of a wide open space and experience, not the city. So no disrespect to us city dwellers, but they really didn't want to be here anymore. They wanted to get out into the country and experience that, and winter's a good time for that in Australia. So I'll roll the video, and you can see what I mean. And we wanted to have some fun with it as well, because it had all been a bit sort of serious. So hopefully you'll see what I mean. And to take that one step further, we wanted to capture the sounds that people can experience when they're staying with us. Our natural settings are a very important part of our brand, very much a unique selling point for us. So we work with a local company called Formation Sound Effects, and they were kind enough to capture some of these sounds for us. And this one that I'll play for you is my favorite. So everybody make sure you close your eyes, because it's much better when you've got your eyes closed, and just listen to this, you can see what I mean. So we use social to get this content out, and it's just a different way of promoting the destination. The videos do a beautiful job, but I think this is something a bit special, and it really gives you a sense of how you feel when you get there, which is difficult to get across sometimes, particularly just in still images. And thanks to all this content that I think we were getting out, we managed to grow our engagement over a pretty difficult period, which is exciting. And it's a good example of how uncomfortable situations can push you to do innovative things. Yeah, no, I hope that's provided some inspiration. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Sue. You definitely inspired all of us to travel, and we want to see Australia, and we want to see Spicer's retreat.
Oh, you're very
Thank you so
welcome.
much. Now we're moving to our second poll. So we discussed already how important is social media to build the trust and to get back the demand. So now the very important question is, of course, the success of the campaigns would also depend on the investment. So we have a question to our audience. In the new normal, how much of the total marketing budget would you like to allocate to social media? And you have 4 options here. We'll just give you a minute to submit your answer. And we have the results. So 19% of our audience thinks that the budget should be less than 10% of the overall budget for social media. That 28% thinks that it should be 10 to 20%. 32% thinks that it should be 21 to 35%, and 21% of the audience thinks that it should be 36 to 50% of the budget. That's the results that we expected. We know that the social media importance is growing in the new normal, and it's great to see that our fellow hoteliers know and will be taking the advantage of social media. Over to you, Rohan.
Thanks, Yulia. It's definitely good to know the results there. Alvin, moving on to you now. You've been head of sales and marketing for Maldives region since 2016 for Cinnamon Hotels and Resorts, and have been very instrumental in driving revenues and contributing to an annual portfolio turnover of 56 million USD, managing 4 unique resorts. While the group has been widely recognized for its initiatives such as Cinnamon Travel Pledge, where you rewarded 1,000 holiday packages to the health services staff in Sri Lanka, alongside some sustainability-driven exercises such as Reef Ocean Clean Drive during the lockdown, what have been some of your tactics and strategies to overcome the current scenario? And what are some of the initiatives you have taken to relaunch your hotel, given Maldives is amongst one of the first few destinations to open up for international tourists?
Thanks, Rohan. So I would take it on a 4-phase approach. The first and foremost is your care and cleanliness of your respective properties. The firstmost thing is the WHO guidelines and the local government guidelines. So where do we necessarily get aligned with them, tweak, find where our gap between what we have been normally operating as and what the new normal is, breaching that gap, what needs to be invested in, and getting that care and cleanliness in place. Second was the training. Fortunately, I guess, for the properties in the Maldives, our staff, our employees were more or less stranded on the islands themselves. Almost 650 staff remained on the islands during the lockdown. So on a positive side of it, it gave us the opportunity to actually train the employees on how to service in the new normal with safe distances and other technical aspects. The other aspect that we launched was the Cinnamon Care, which is a branded standard of care guidelines that all Cinnamon hotels around in the region, that's Maldives and Sri Lanka, adapted to a specific standard of how we are going to operate in the new normal. And this content was shared one in a word form as well as on a video form as well on social media and other channels. Also during the lockdown, one other initiative that we did do is get in touch with our loyal customers of the respective resorts. Checking up on their well-being. There were a few of our loyal repeaters who were contracted with the COVID virus. Thankfully, with God's grace, none of them have, gone into the critical stage. They recovered fast. So we kept in touch with our loyal customers and repeaters. That happened more on an email and offline communication. And then and also keeping them positive and also engaging with them throughout that time with certain messages that keep enhances their aspiration to travel at some point. The next phase is our master plan, because today I would say the heart of the whole organization is sales and marketing. And greater than ever before, today the whole organization will depend on how this heart beats. So it's not just generating the top line, it is contributing to the overall sustainability and profitability of your respective organizations. So in that line, what is the need of the moment? I'm sure it's not just us, but every hotel or travel company in the travel industry are facing the biggest problem is cash flows. So what do we do in the short and mid term to generate cash flows? Having that in mind, how do we use our marketing budgets? Of course, during the first couple of months during the lockdown, we paused all our marketing activities, or paid marketing rather, and we focused on inspirational messages being put out. But on 1st June, we started tactical marketing, also with a certain amount of brand awareness also being done. And then the third phase is your pricing strategy. How do we price it? We will be facing a firefighting environment in the next months to come, because every destination, travel destination, will start opening their borders, and it is basically we're starting from scratch. So how do we decide what our pricing strategy is? I know Haitham also touched on this. Are we going to be very aggressive with our pricing and look at volume, or are we going to be creating unique value propositions to our guests, where it meets the mutual expectations of the organization as well as the customer? So that is another aspect that we looked at, and based on which we have gone about not necessarily going down aggressive on our pricing, but creating more unique value propositions to drive the revenues to our organization. Then the fourth phase is, which I will be going into detail, is the audience and the channel that you could use of doing your social media marketing. For us in the Maldives, our most engaged channel would be Facebook rather than Instagram. So our first phase, although we have our presence on Instagram, our first most effective channel marketing has been through Facebook. And moving on into the detail of the social media placing out. The next slide, Rohan.
Yes.
So this is how we phased out our strategies. So the first phase was the lockdown. And during the lockdown, it was first and initial most priority which was managing and accommodating the stranded guests. We even right now we have a guest who has been with being staying at our hotel. It's just 2 guests, and the whole hotel is operational since the 31st of March till today. The guest is still in house, and we are still looking after the client. We have not, told him to leave or told them to leave the island. So the whole island is all to himself. Of course, right now that guest has also become part of the island. He gets involved with, the daily activities that happen, whether it be the beach cleaning, reef cleaning. Sometimes he gets involved even with gardening. Then the next was the assistance of rebooking and refunding. Uh, I know that whilst all our organizations would be having the problem of cash flows, we also need to understand that the customer themselves have their own set of problems during this pandemic. So assistance of trying to get their refunds processed faster, even with the banking system being also impacted due to this pandemic, and also assisting them to rebooking to an alternate travel dates post pandemic opening, and not necessarily charging extra supplements, but trying to accommodate them at the same package prices that they have originally booked. Then the other was updating of the content. Given the present situation that we are in, and in the pandemic, we feel that the most sought after information that a guest would look for is information about the properties or where they want to travel. So the content of your websites, the information about your care and cleanliness will be ever more important than before. It's more than you actually selling your idea. It is actually helping them to make their decisions with providing strong content and being helpful. Then also during the lockdown time, that is between April and May, the 2 months, we've more or less going on inspired posts of holidays that it could be creating that dream factor for those who want to travel at some point once the lockdowns are relaxed and the borders are open from countries. The second phase that we started was we started a campaign on the 1st of June, See Now, Experience Later. The main objective was to engage the customer with us, with sharing their holiday moments in the Maldives. And also during this time, we ran a 2-week campaign offering a gift voucher where the winner will be announced at the end of the month. And then also during this time, we also launched our branded care guideline, which is Cinnamon Care. So this also was in parallel being posted and shared with the customers so that they get to know what we are actually doing extra to keep their holidays safe and healthy. In the third phase, which we launched on the 16th of June, which is right now active and it will go on till the 16th of July, is Book Now, Travel Later campaign. We have offered a longer travel window up till October 2021 with flexible cancellation policies, and of course understanding our overall organization of requirement, which is the cash flow. And I'm happy to say, with the limited budgets, very limited budgets that we are using right now on these campaigns, the ratio of conversion is 1 to $186 in the last 10 days of this campaign. So what we didn't do is sell upfront. We're not selling, but we're inspiring the customer to book and giving them that information that they require to make that decision to travel. And then the fourth and last phase is when we actually launch or reopen the borders of Maldives, which is now being announced as the 15th of July, is where we will go into the next phase of its time, where the borders are open and where we will have a shorter campaign, Rohan, the next, where we'll have a shorter booking window, a shorter travel window, a shorter booking window, a booking campaign window, and also providing a unique proposition uh, where we are not necessarily discounting, because we believe that going down that discounting phase is not necessarily the right way to go, and it's not sustainable or healthy for the overall organization. So the only thing that we have to be very aware of is that all the social media channels, if you look back 10, 15 years ago, email marketing was the most sought after channel that we used for our marketing campaigns, and the conversions of email marketing was really high. But today, because of us using email marketing to a great extent of selling, majority of the emails are now going into spam folders. So my advice to the community or to the industry leaders is that, or the industry is that, don't clutter and spam the news feeds on your social media channels, because eventually people will stop following you. So that's in short that that I feel that the strategies that we should be adopting. And I think my 10 minutes has been more of a summary of what Haitam, Ruchika, and Sue had had also touched upon, which I have kind of collated into one short summary.
Thanks, Alvin. And we'd like to sort of play a video that obviously you have shared with us that you launched during this phase. So if you could play the video, please.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Alvin. So to sum up today's webinar, given the fluid situation around us, the only certainty is that audience behavior will continue to change dramatically over the next few weeks and months. The major updates we found after just a few months suggest that brands will continue to face challenges, highlighting the need to consistently review and reprioritize their strategy throughout 2020. Just in 2019, 63% of social media marketers predicted that listening would be crucial in 2020. There are good reasons for the rising popularity of social listening. Social media monitoring means so much more than just keeping an eye on your brand's mentions. It is an immediately reactive strategy and enables you to hear all kinds of talk about your brand, reviews, product questions, and even service complaints. Effective monitoring can power connections with your audience, uncover trends, and lead to stronger brand loyalty. While the data comes from monitoring might not translate to raw numbers, the qualitative data that comes from honest conversations on social can be extremely valuable when refining your strategy. Planning for the worst and being able to adapt quickly, no matter what you're facing, has become critical. And social media plays a major role in your crisis management efforts. In fact, companies that respond well to a brand crisis see a 20% increase in value, as opposed to as opposed to those companies that respond poorly see a 30% decrease, according to Penland Analytics. It's time like these that make us realize how fluid and dynamic the world of digital advertising is. And this, I feel, is the best time for brands to touch a zillion hearts digitally. According to Global Web Index's recent research on how COVID-19 had affected the consumer landscape, 50% of global consumers say they approve of brands running normal advertising. Global Web Index also found that nearly 3/4 of all global consumers surveyed approve of promotions, offers, or loyalty perks for customers during the time. Demonstrating you understand what your audience needs from your brand and showing consumers how you're supporting them during this unprecedented time is the need of the hour. If you prioritize creating connections and customer care, you will create brand loyalty that lasts beyond this pandemic. Balance selling purchase, but they're also looking for some semblance of normal life to get through this time. So thank you very much. Over to you, Julia.
Thank you, Rohan. Thank you for the summary. Unfortunately, we don't have any